This is going to be interesting, okay? I'll bring some Kaizen systems here. Then we'll get into some practical Kaizens later. The evolution of quality, the last slide, what I show us, total quality control, then they started calling total quality control, and then total quality management. Policy deployment, in Lean, we call it as Hoshin country. If you've not heard about it, type not in the comment box. Those who have not heard about Hoshin country, type not in the comment box, just to get a feel of how many of you do not know about Hoshin country. Very, very important concept. This is Hoshin country is nothing but when Philip Kotler started MBO. How many of you have heard about MBO? Yeah, MBO. What is MBO? Management by objectives, right? Okay. So I have seen like Deming cycle. Actually, Walter Shewart should be credited for this PDCA. Actually, he rigorously used this PDCA, plan, do, check, and act, and the SDCA during his statistical studies. I have one book which is a treasure from AT&T Bell Laboratories. One second. Do you want to see that book? I can show you if it's not a detour from what we are discussing. And of course, this is my Kaizen type of, so that if I take the book, I have to keep it in the same place. So quality control handbook, okay? And the reason that I'm sharing this is, if you read this book, I started reading this book in the year 1995. And I would have read each and every page of this book. It's so exciting about the way that they have followed exactly. This book is not available, actually. It is from AT&T Bell Laboratories library. And it was gifted to me by the general manager of Sundaram Fasteners, Dr. Krishnanand, okay? Seeing my interest in statistics. So I'm actually MSc in statistics also from BITS Pilani. And I'm very, very passionate about numbers. So this is a personal copy given to him from friend from AT&T, and it is not available anywhere, actually. This is an internal book. They had some copies, and he had the opportunity and to have this, and he gave me. The reason I'm talking about this is, sorry for the detour if you feel it is not relevant to the discussion. The reason that I'm sharing here is, I was talking about policy deployment and management by objectives by Philip Kotler. Similarly, the concept of PDCA is actually started by Walter Shewart during his statistical. He observed variations for the first time. And then he tried to control that variation. And then once he controls that and he standardized that, and then from standardized, he moved. Today, we all know X bar R charts, U charts, P charts, NP charts, and all type of control charts. But then it was Deming who popularized this PDCA, and it's called Deming's PDCA cycle. Okay. Similarly, Philip Kotler, management by objectives. Company has got an objective, you cascade those objectives. Now the same thing in Hoshin country. In Hoshin country, which is English, in English is translated as policy deployment. When Philip Kotler is talking about cascading the objectives to functional and bottom down to the bottom, in Hoshin country, it's called as a catch ball mechanism. From the top, they will ask what is that they want, and the next level will tell how they do it. So what and how it's called as a catch ball. We'll talk about it later. Sorry for a little bit of detour on this. But policy deployment is all in the old wine in the new bottle. But each has got its own unique advantage in the modern context or the style of management. Okay, I have the book. How many of you heard about balanced scorecard? Okay. Anyway, this is also one of the great statistical quality control books. Okay. But this is too voluminous a book, but it's so much of colorful photograph. Okay. A lot of colorful photographs, even. Okay. But then what I was trying to talk about is this book, Balance Scorecard. How many of you have this book, Balance Scorecard? Okay. This is also, it's Robert Kaplan and David Norton with Harvard professors. They had done research on Fortune 100 companies, and they had, and this is also a sort of deployment, but in a different framework. So what I'm trying to say here is Kaizen adopts these sort of policy deployment tools to do improvements, and improvements is done because all the Kaizen should be aligned to the strategic objectives of the company. This is the point that I'm trying to drive. And the cascading of how do you percolate the strategic objective of the company to the bottom line? You have various methodologies. It started by management by objectives. Then you call it a policy deployment. Dr. Eliyahu Goldratt, he does it by what is called as a goal tree. Okay, the same thing how many of you know about the logical thinking process? 1 second, let me also show that goal tree. Okay, and this book is logical thinking process. I'm suggesting all that because of course this is a book by Detmer. Detmer is actually worked with Goldratt, and then he separated himself and wrote this logical thinking process. But he gave credit to Goldratt by saying Goldratt's logical thinking process. Okay, so that is also a form of a goal tree, wherein what are the goals of the company, what are the critical success factors to meet those goals, and what are the necessary conditions to meet the critical success factors is what is the approach. And that is also one way of cascading down the goals of the company. All right. So I hope these, whatever references I've given was useful, because it's very easy for me to just read it and go. But I think this sort of a little bit of references, and maybe we can put our thinking cap on, and one of you can get interested and, develop your thinking process by reading those books. And of course, we all know about, kindly, if so far whatever discussed was useful, type useful in the comment box or valuable, whatever. So we all know about suggestion systems. We all know about small group activities, TPM, right? JIT and Toyota production, pull systems, Kanbans, and things like that. Okay. All right. So these are all Kaizen systems. Why am I calling that as Kaizen system? Is it is not that people who are all not clear about most of these things will think, should I follow Kaizen or TQM? Should I follow just in time or policy deployment? I would always recommend one thing. Whatever is the best business practice that can help you take from the current state towards the goals of your company, whatever be the tools, whatever be the technique, whatever is the mindset that is required, please adopt it. Beware of giving a name to it. Okay. Once you start giving the name, you will start defending that your Kaizen is better than TQM or TPS is better than just. And people who are gone through all this or studied all this will realize that it doesn't matter whether it is a spanner from a cycle that can help to start a Benz car also. Okay, if Benz car is under repair or something not okay with Benz car, you just need to tighten. Even a spanner of a cycle can help. You cannot say, would you ever say, when you don't have the tool, you have a tool from a cycle, and say that, no, this is Benz car, I will not use the tool from a cycle if it would really help. So the reason I'm saying that is, we should not give a name to any, of course we can, for the sake of communication, we can have lean methodology, Kaizen methodology and all that. But at a very senior position, we should be very, very careful. We should be very clear that we should use the right tools, tool set, give them the right skill set on that, and enable the right mindset to take them from the current state towards the objective what we wanted to achieve. Okay. If that is clear,